Hi again. I'm reacting to what if Ahsoka chose the Jedi way? I guess, well, didn't she already chose the Jedi way? Like, she left the Jedi Order after this incident in the Clone War, but she left the Jedi Order, but she never became a Sith. She stayed as a Jedi, well, a great Jedi. But anyway, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And again, I'll have the Star Wars Kingdoms channel in the description below. Then check out the original video for yourself. And don't forget to check out my reaction playlist too. Let's see what if Ahsoka chose the Jedi way. You know, she is.
In the wake of the controversial trial that nearly branded her a traitor, Ahsoka Tano chose a path untraveled by many before her. She remained within the Jedi Order. Her decision was not born from unwavering faith, but rather a stoic commitment to see through what she had started. Under the watchful eye of her master, Anakin Skywalker, she continued her training. However, their bond, once forged in mutual trust and respect, had subtly shifted. They both harbored a growing disillusionment with the order they served, a sentiment fueled by silent observations and unspoken truths. As the Clone Wars raged on, Ahsoka's role in the Republic's military campaigns became increasingly prominent. She fought valiantly beside clone troopers, leading them into battle with strategic acumen that surpassed many seasoned generals. Yet, with each mission, the lines of right and wrong blurred. The Jedi, who were once guardians of peace, now commanded battalions in war that seemed to stray further from the values the Order once upheld. Ahsoka's acute sense of justice began to question the directives she was given. She saw the Jedi not as servants of the Force, but as instruments of the Republic's agenda. The realization stung, and it echoed a sentiment Anakin had voiced only in the shadows of his thoughts. Meanwhile, Chancellor Palpatine continued his ascent, amassing power of subtlety that almost escaped notice. His influence seeped deeper into the Senate and the Jedi Council, with promises of peace and order that were laced with darker intentions. Ahsoka noted the shift, the tendrils of control that tightened around the galaxy, and her distrust grew. The Republic's efforts to quell the separatist threat grew increasingly brutal, with civilian casualties mounting and morale compromises becoming the norm. Ahsoka witnessed the transformation of the Republic she vowed to protect into an entity that often mirrored the adversaries it sought to defeat. The realization was heart-wrenching, pushing her to question not only her allegiance to the Jedi Order, but also her understanding of what it meant to serve the Force. During a routine mission across the galaxy, Ahsoka noticed an uncharacteristic hesitation in Anakin's actions, a momentary falter in his decisions. At first, she attributed it to the wariness that plagued all who were entangled in the relentless threads of the Clone Wars. But as these moments became more frequent, Ahsoka couldn't dismiss her concerns as mere fatigue. She knew her master well enough to sense when something deeper troubled him. Anakin's assurance that he was just tired and that there was nothing to worry about didn't convince Ahsoka. The bond they shared was too deep, too attuned for her to be placed by his dismissive smiles. Her concern for him was not just as a Padawan to her master, but as a friend to a brother. Aware of the secret romance between Anakin and Padme, Ahsoka had always maintained a respectful silence on the matter. Yet, as Anakin's struggles seemed to deepen, she felt compelled to seek out Padme. Perhaps she can offer a different perspective, or at least confirm if Anakin's troubles were affecting his personal life as well. Meeting discreetly, Ahsoka expressed his worries to Padme, who confided that Anakin had been plagued by nightmares, ones he wouldn't share but dismissed as inconsequential. The discussion left Ahsoka more troubled, seeing the emotional toll the dreams took on Anakin, yet he chose to suffer in silence. Resolved to help, Ahsoka approached Anakin after their next mission, ensuring they had privacy.
Master, I know there's something troubling you deeply. Please know that I'm here. Not just as your Padawan, but as your friend. You can trust me with anything, no matter how heavy.
For a fleeting moment, Anakin's resolve wavered. The walls he built around his deepest fears almost crumbled at Ahsoka's earnest offer. He considered sharing everything. The visions of darkness, the fear of loss that haunted him, the prophecies that threatened to consume his peace. Yet, he hesitated, burned by the thought of involving Ahsoka in his darkest fears, potentially placing her in the path of his own uncertain destiny. With a heavy heart, Anakin simply thanked her, keeping his secrets locked away.
Thank you, Ahsoka. I appreciate that more than you know.
Ahsoka felt a pang of sadness as she nodded, accepting his decision to remain silent, yet she resolved to remain vigilant, to be the ally Anakin might not even know he needed. This decision would forge a new path in their relationship, one filled with unspoken understandings and silent support, shaping their destinies in ways neither could have predicted. As we reached the back end of the Clone Wars, Coruscant was in danger. A blaze of comets slashed across the void of space, streaks of light that were, in fact, devastating missiles fired between battleships. The Clone Wars had reached a tipping point. The very heart of the Galactic Republic, Coruscant, was under siege. Amidst the chaos, a dire message had been received. Chancellor Palpatine had been kidnapped. Ahsoka Tano and her master Anakin Skywalker were returning from a distant skirmish when the distress call pulled them back into the thick of the conflict. Without hesitation, their starfighters plunged into the swirling melee above Coruscant, dodging explosions and returning fire with lethal precision.
The Chancellor's on the invisible hand.
Anakin relayed, his voice tight with urgency. The ship in question loomed ahead, a monstrous vessel commandeered by the Separatists. As they docked in the hangar bay, the two Jedi were met by Obi-Wan Kenobi. His usual calm was tinged with strain.
I was on the ground when the call came. Shakti and I attempted a rescue, but we got separated.
The trio navigated the labyrinth corridors of the invisible hand, moving swiftly towards the Chancellor's last known location. But fate, it seemed, was not in their favor. A sudden activation of a ray shield trapped them in a hallway. General Grievous, sinister and mocking, stood on the other side, holding the limp form of Shakti as his captive. With a cruel sneer, he executed the Jedi Master, her body falling lifelessly as Anakin and Ahsoka watched in horror.
You will pay for this!
Anakin growled, his voice thick with rage and sorrow. Realizing they needed a swift escape, Obi-Wan signaled to his companions. Their lightsabers hummed as they cut through the floor, dropping them into the ship's fuel cell. Grievous barked orders at the droids not to fire, wary of igniting the volatile fuel. Navigating through the precarious environment, the Jedi found an access to an elevator. As they ascended, the doors opened to reveal their next formidable challenge. Count Dooku awaited, his presence as imposing as ever. The duel was intense. Dooku's expertise in combat was nearly unmatched, his moves calculated and deadly. He managed to send Obi-Wan sprawling with a well-placed kick and incapacitated Ahsoka with a shock of Force lightning. The battle unfolded with Anakin pressing the offensive, driven by a mix of vengeance and duty. As Obi-Wan laid unconscious and Ahsoka struggled to her senses, the duel reached its climax. Palpatine, his eyes alight with dark anticipation, urged Anakin on to kill Dooku. Ahsoka plead no, was drowned out by the sound of lightsabers clashing. A moment too late, Anakin, swayed by a darker impulse, delivered the final blow, decapitating Dooku in a decisive, if disturbing, victory. As the dust settled, Ahsoka's gaze met Anakin, a mix of bewilderment and disappointment in her eyes. The battle for Coruscant might have been won, but at what cost? In the shadow of their triumph lurked the seeds of betrayal, a darkness growing within Anakin, unnoticed yet unchecked. Back on Coruscant, the city planet slowly regained its usual rhythm after the fierce battle and the dramatic rescue of Chancellor Palpatine. The debris from the space skirmish still floated above, a stark reminder of how close the heart of the Republic had come to catastrophe. In the quiet aftermath, Ahsoka Tano found herself deeply troubled by the events aboard the Invisible Hand. The image of Dooku's final moments and Anakin's decisive action under Palpatine's urging haunted her. She needed answers, and she knew there was only one person she could confront, Anakin himself. She met him in the vast expanse of the Jedi Temple's meditation garden, where the serenity contrasted sharply with the turmoil in her heart.
Why did you do it, Anakin? Why kill Dooku when he was defenseless? He could have been interrogated. He might have had knowledge that could end this war.
I don't know, Ahsoka. It happened so fast.
Ahsoka watched him closely, seeing the conflict within him. She wanted to believe him, to forgive him, but a nagging suspicion held her back. It was clear that Anakin was being influenced by Palpatine, more than he possibly realized himself. This realization deepened her worry, not just for Anakin, but for the fate of the Republic. Determined to find more answers, Ahsoka decided to confide in someone outside the Jedi Order, Padme Amidala. Meeting Padme in her ornate office, which overlooked the sprawling cityscape, Ahsoka voiced her concerns.
I'm worried about Anakin, and I'm starting to suspect Chancellor Palpatine's motives. It feels like he's manipulating everything, and everyone.
I've had similar worries, Ahsoka. Anakin has been more conflicted lately, and Palpatine, he's accumulating a lot of power, far more than any Chancellor before him.
Sensing an ally in her fears, Ahsoka felt weight lifted slightly from her shoulders, yet the gravity of the situation remained. Padme, seeing Ahsoka's dedication to understanding the wider political machinations, made a proposal.
There's a meeting coming up with the delegation of 2000, a group of senators who share our concerns about the Chancellor's actions. I think your perspective as a Jedi would be invaluable. Will you come?
Ahsoka hesitated. Politics was not her usual arena, but she recognized the importance of Padme's request.
Politics isn't my game, Padme. But if you think it could help, I'll be there.
Thank you, Ahsoka. I believe it's crucial we understand what we're facing, from all sides.
Yeah.
Ahsoka's attendance at one of these secretive meetings was a pivotal moment, marking her first significant foray into the tangled web of galactic politics. The discussions she heard echoed her fears. Palpatine's power was growing unchecked, and the liberties of the Republic were eroding in the shadows of his promises of security and order. After the meeting, feeling the weight of her discoveries, Ahsoka sought the counsel of Master Yoda. In the quiet sanctity of the Jedi Temple, she expressed her concerns about the Chancellor's influence not just on the galaxy, but alarmingly on the Jedi Order itself. She referenced the troubling events aboard the Invisible Hand, Palpatine's subtle manipulations, and his disturbing interest in Anakin.
Troubled by what you have learned, you are. Deeply run these concerns. And clouded by the dark side, the path forward is.
We can't let fear or loyalty to political leaders dictate our actions. The Jedi should serve the Force and the Republic in that order. We must ensure that we do not become pawns in a larger scheme we do not yet understand.
Promise. You have my attention, young Tano. Look into these matters. The Council will.
As Yoda committed to a deeper scrutiny of Palpatine's maneuvers, Ahsoka left his chambers with a heavy heart but a clear sense of purpose. She knew that bringing her concerns to Yoda was just the beginning. The Jedi Council, traditionally slow to action, would need more than just suspicions to move against the Chancellor. She understood that she might have to take more proactive measures, perhaps working more closely with the delegation of 2000, or even seeking out other allies within the Republic who shared her concerns. Back at the Jedi Temple, the Council convened to deliberate on the ongoing war efforts and the immediate threat posed by General Grievous. As discussions turned to who should confront the notorious Separatist leader, Obi-Wan Kenobi was nominated for the task due to his experience and strategic acumen. Anakin Skywalker, ever eager to prove his worth, voiced a strong desire to accompany him. However, the council denied his request, emphasizing the importance of his mission to monitor Chancellor Palpatine, a task only he could perform given his close relationship with the Chancellor. Frustrated but determined to have personal stake in the mission against Grievous, Anakin proposed that his apprentice Ahsoka Tano accompanied Obi-Wan instead. He argued that it would serve as a fitting trial for her knighthood, showcasing her readiness to ascend from the role of Padawan. After some deliberation, the council agreed, recognizing the benefit of Obi-Wan having a capable and trusted ally by his side. Before their departure, Anakin and Ahsoka shared a moment of quiet reflection. Ahsoka expressed her frustrations with the council for placing Anakin in such a compromising position to spy on a figure who had been a mentor and protector. Anakin masked his turmoil with reassuring smile, choosing to focus on the positive outcome of her opportunity.
Everything happens for a reason. Because of this, you are becoming a knight, and I couldn't be more proud of you.
Their exchange ended with mutual smiles, a silent acknowledgement of the challenges they faced and the paths they were forging separately yet together. As she prepared to leave with Obi-Wan, Anakin called out half-jokingly,
"You better look out for her, Obi-Wan, or you'll have me to answer to."
Both Obi-Wan and Anakin chuckled, a moment of lightness amidst the brewing storm. In the ensuing battle against General Grievous, Ahsoka's presence proved invaluable. The confrontation mirrored key moments seen in the movie, but with Ahsoka's assistance, they managed a more strategic and coordinated attack. Her quick thinking and Jedi training allowed them to capitalize on Grievous's weaknesses, ultimately leading to a quicker defeat of the Separatist general. The victory was a testament to her growth and readiness to assume the mantle of a Jedi Knight. In the harrowing aftermath of their victory against General Grievous, a sudden and sinister shift in the Force struck both Ahsoka and Obi-Wan with a chilling intensity. Ahsoka fell to her knees, overwhelmed by a surge of anguish and despair. Anakin was in pain, a deep, rending pain that spoke of betrayal and a fall from grace. Before they could process this disturbance, blaster fire erupted around them. The clone troopers with whom they had fought side by side throughout the war now turned their weapons on them. The grim reality of Order 66 unfolded. The clones had been commanded to execute all the Jedi, viewed now as traitors to the Republic. Reacting with both shock and instinct, Ahsoka and Obi-Wan defended themselves with a desperate precision. Battling their way to an escape craft, as they fled the planet, they contacted Master Yoda, who had confirmed the dire news. Order 66 had been activated across the galaxy, and the Jedi were being slaughtered. The trio rendezvoused and hastened back to Coruscant, only to discover the Jedi Temple in ruins, smoldering under the fires of betrayal. Fighting through squads of clone troopers, they pushed their way to the heart of the temple, driven by the need for answers. Within the charred remains of the archives, they found a devastating holograph recording. The footage was undeniable. Anakin, their friend and brother in the Force, striking down Jedi, even younglings. The scene shifted to show him kneeling before Chancellor Palpatine, who anointed him Darth Vader, a new Lord of the Sith. The revelation shattered Ahsoka and Obi-Wan. The pain of betrayal was palpable, but there was no time to mourn or dwell on the crushing weight of their loss. Yoda, ever resilient, urged immediate action. Yoda declared his intentions to confront Emperor Palpatine directly, a battle of immense proportions that would decide the fate of the galaxy. He instructed Ahsoka and Obi-Wan to find Anakin and confront him. Perhaps there was a chance to redeem him, or at least stop him from further dark actions under Palpatine's influence. Upon arriving on the fiery planet of Mustafar, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka remained hidden aboard Padme's ship, anxiously anticipating what was to come. As Padme disembarked to confront Anakin, the two Jedi stealthily followed, their hearts heavy with the burden of what they might find. The situation escalated quickly when Anakin, consumed by paranoia and the dark influence of the Sith, spotted Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. In a fit of misguided fury, he accused Padme of betrayal. Using the Force, he choked her into unconsciousness. Horrified, Ahsoka rushed to Padme's side, tending to her, while Obi-Wan attempted to reason with Anakin. Anakin, his eyes burning with a mixture of rage and conflict, retorted sharply,
You don't understand, Obi-Wan. I do not fear the dark side as you do. I see through the lies of the Jedi.
It was then that Ahsoka intervened, stepping forward with a calm yet firm resolve.
Anakin, I agree that the Jedi are not what they once were. We've made mistakes, put you in impossible positions, but nothing justifies the path you've chosen.
Anakin paused, the fury in his eyes flickering with doubt as Ahsoka continued.
Destroying everything, and everyone who cares about you isn't the answer. We can find another way, together.
For a moment, Anakin's old self seemed to resurface, a glimmer of the man he once was, conflicted, but reachable. But the shadow of Darth Vader was too strong, the dark side's grip too firm.
Ahsoka, join me. Reject the Jedi's limitations. Together, we can overthrow Palpatine and bring order to the galaxy.
I can't join you on this path. It's wrong, and you know it deep down. We can help you find the light again.
If you're not with me, then you are my enemy. You will die.
The air crackled with the intensity of the moment, the volcanic ash and flames mirroring the turmoil raging between former friends. As Obi-Wan stood ready, his saber ignited in defense, Ahsoka felt a profound sadness for her master and for the fate of the galaxy. As the volcanic ash swirled around them, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and Anakin ignited their lightsabers, the distinct hums of their weapons cutting through the oppressive heat. Anakin, now more Vader than Skywalker, advanced with fury fueled by the dark side, his blade a blur of aggressive strikes. Ahsoka, grappling with the pain of facing her former master in combat, moved with a mix of precision and reluctance. She parried and dodged Anakin's attacks, looking for an opening to disarm rather than harm. The battle reached a crescendo when Anakin, in a blind rage, unleashed a powerful force push. Ahsoka, caught off guard, was thrown back, her body slamming against a rocky outcrop. The impact rendered her unconscious. With Ahsoka temporarily incapacitated, the duel became a direct confrontation between Anakin and Obi-Wan. The mentor and his former apprentice exchanged blows that were as much about their conflicting ideologies as they were about physical combat. Anakin, empowered but erratic due to his embrace of the dark side, attacked with a ferocity that was difficult to counter.
Your new empire?
Obi-Wan countered, ducking a vicious swing.
Anakin! Chancellor Palpatine is evil!
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Anakin roared back, his blade striking with increased desperation. The duel moved precariously close to the lava flows, the heat intensifying as the ground beneath them crackled and groaned. Anakin attempted a bold leap to gain tactical advantage, but Obi-Wan, foreseeing his move, landed on a higher mound of blackened rock.
It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground.
You underestimate my power.
Blinded by the pride and the dark side, Ignoring Obi-Wan's warning, Anakin leaped, but Obi-Wan, left with no choice, swung his lightsaber in a defensive arc. The blade connected, and Anakin fell, severely wounded beside the molten riverbank. As Ahsoka regained consciousness, the sounds of the duel reached her in a muffled, nightmarish haze. She stumbled to her feet, her vision clearing just in time to witness the tragic outcome. Her heart broke at the sight of Anakin. As Anakin lay grievously injured at the lava bank, the finality of his choices crashing down upon him, Ahsoka and Obi-Wan approached with a mix of urgency and dread. Seeing Anakin struggling to crawl away from the deadly lava, Ahsoka's instincts as a former apprentice and a friend kicked in. Despite Obi-Wan's warnings, she rushed to Anakin's side, pulling him away from the fiery banks to prevent his body from catching flame. In these moments, Anakin experienced a painful clarity. He realized the magnitude of his downfall and the stark departure from the Jedi he was meant to become. This realization was punctuated by Ahsoka's selflessness, her actions momentarily piercing the veil of the dark side that had clouded his vision. His eyes, once the sickly yellow of the Sith corruption, flickered to their original blue, a fleeting return of Anakin Skywalker.
Leave before he gets here. He's coming. I can sense him.
Referring to Palpatine's imminent arrival, Ahsoka, torn between her loyalty to Anakin and her duty to protect what remained of the Jedi, hesitated. Anakin, seeing her reluctance, mustered the last of his strength for her final plea.
Please, leave. Save Padme.
The conflict of light and dark overwhelming him as he lost consciousness. Ahsoka, her eyes filled with tears, looked at Obi-Wan, who nodded gravely. They had to act swiftly. Together, they hurried to retrieve Padme, who was still unconscious from their earlier assault. They transported her to her ship, speeding away from Mustafar to find medical help, the closest being a covert facility known to the Jedi for emergencies such as this. As their ship pierced the atmosphere of Mustafar, Emperor Palpatine's shuttle descended onto the scorched landscape. The Sith Lord moved quickly to Anakin's side, his face a mask of concern that thinly veiled his triumphant calculation. With the help of his royal guards, Palpatine secured Anakin and transported him back to Coruscant, where his extensive medical and mechanical intervention awaited. As Anakin Skywalker regained consciousness on the surgical table, the trauma and physical overhaul he had undergone were immense. However, unlike the history that might have been, his encounter with Obi-Wan had not left him charred or necessitating the complete mechanical suit that would have defined Darth Vader. Instead, his injuries, while severe, had been addressed with advanced medical techniques that gave him new limbs and renewed vision, yet he remained fundamentally unaltered in appearance. Rising from the table, Anakin's first thoughts were of Padme, his voice urgent and full of concern. He asked Palpatine,
Where is Padme? Is she safe? Is she all right?
It appears in your anger. You killed her.
No, that's not possible. She was alive. I felt it.
His emotions spiraled out of control, his grief turning into a blistering rage. Without thinking, he reached out with the Force, grasping Palpatine by the throat, lifting him from the ground. The betrayal, the lies, it was all too much. Palpatine, caught off guard but ever cunning, was initially impressed by Anakin's display of power, which confirmed his belief in Anakin's potential as a Sith. However, as the grip tightened, he retaliated with torrents of Force lightning. Anakin, quick and fueled by fury, released Palpatine to summon the Sith Lord's own lightsaber to his hands. With a skilled maneuver, he deflected the lightning back at Palpatine, turning the Sith Lord's weapon against him. The room crackled with energy as Palpatine's skin began to sear under his own attack. He ceased the lightning, collapsing to the floor in pain and shock. Anakin stood over him, lightsaber in hand, a tempest of emotion swirling within him. I should have let Master Windu kill you, he said, voice heavy with regret and accusation.
You are a fool if you think you have defeated me.
Palpatine hissed from the ground, his eyes dark with hatred and fear. With a cold, determined look, Anakin prepared to end Palpatine once and for all. But Palpatine, in a final desperate act, unleashed a devastating burst of lightning with all his might. Anakin again deflected it with the lightsaber, but the intensity of the energy was too much. The room erupted in explosions, the back and forth volley of deadly energy creating a cataclysmic force. As the room became a maelstrom of destruction, both master and apprentice realized the inevitability of their fate. With one last explosive exchange, the life forces of Anakin and Palpatine were extinguished amidst the ruins of the chamber. The destruction of both Sith Lords and apprentice marked a tragic yet pivotal moment altering the future of the galaxy. In the aftermath of the catastrophic battle that claimed the lives of both Anakin Skywalker and Emperor Palpatine, the galaxy stood at the brink of a new era. The Sith were no more, and the oppressive regime that had darkened the stars seemed to crumble without its dark architects. Meanwhile, on a distant medical medical facility, Padme Amidala faced her own profound struggle. Despite the advanced care she received, Padme's spirit had been wounded by the events that unfolded. The birth of her twins, Luke and Leia, brought a brief flicker of joy to her weary heart. However, the overwhelming grief of losing Anakin and the shattered dreams of their future together consumed her. In her final moments, knowing the challenges her children would face, Padme entrusted the care to Ahsoka Tano, her voice soft but resolute.
Promise me, Ahsoka. Promise me you will protect them.
With Padme's passing, the responsibility of guiding 2 new lives fell to Ahsoka. When Obi-Wan and Yoda learned of the twins' birth, they proposed a plan to hide the children from the remnants of the Sith followers and eventually to rebuild the Jedi Order with them. However, Ahsoka, having witnessing firsthand the complexities and the failings of the old Jedi Order, felt a different path was necessary.
Perhaps the time of the Jedi as we knew it should come to an end. We've seen where that path led. It's time for something new, something better.
Obi-Wan and Yoda, though initially taken aback, saw wisdom in her words. The galaxy had changed, and perhaps so too must the ways of the Force. With a heavy heart but hopeful spirit, Ahsoka took Luke and Leia away from the familiar worlds and politics they were born into. She traveled to far reaches of the galaxy, to a place untouched by wars and the Sith, where the children grow up away from the shadows of their father's past and the legacy of the Jedi. As years turned into decades, Ahsoka raised Luke and Leia not as Jedi or as tools in a larger battle, but as individuals with the freedom to choose their own destinies. She taught them the values of kindness, justice, and courage, lessons she had learned from her own experiences and from Anakin before his fall.
And after that, we go here. Bye for now, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Again, I'll have the channel in the description below so you can check out the original video for yourself. And don't forget to check out my reaction playlist too. And again, bye for now. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Alright, again, I'll see you next time. Bye.